Range is dangerous. If you can let it fly from well past the 3-point line, you're automatically a threat. You extend the entire defense. But how do we do this as hoopers? The obvious answer here is to get stronger. And yes, this does play a part. But I truly believe that technique is the main key here. It's what's gonna make or break your range. So we'll check out how you can add distance onto your jumper. So like everything else in basketball, range starts with the foundation, the feet. A lot of players really don't get the most out of their footwork when it comes to shooting threes, especially from longer distances. But there are a few ways to really get into a powerful shot before you even jump. First is a small hop. Hopping and having both feet hit the ground engages something called the stress shortening cycle, which in very simple terms is just the body's method of taking the stored energy when you land, so like here when you land from the hop, and using it to jump even higher on the way back up. So for example, when you jump, you get a counter movement on the way down, and then use that energy that's absorbed to explode back up. This is way more explosive than just jumping up without that lowering portion. Anyways, this hop makes you more explosive. Even if it's small, it propels you into the air with more acceleration, which in turn helps you exert more force into that shot and gets that ball flying up towards the basket stronger, which obviously leads to range. Plus it synchronizes the whole movement. Having both feet hit the ground at the same time is a really good way to get that energy moving up the chain very efficiently, and also very symmetrically. You see a lot of NBA players use this hop on deep threes, and for good reason. But sometimes the hop isn't the best way though. In some situations, a 1-2 footwork is the better option, and that's fine as long as you're doing it in the optimal way. So a lot of players keep that front foot stationary on their 1-2, only stepping in with that back foot. And while that's okay for closer shots, it's going to lose you a lot of power because you're relying solely on that back leg to develop force. Whereas if you take a stride with the front foot and then step in with the back foot, it honestly doesn't slow down the shot at all if the timing is right. And you're more so mimicking an approach jump, which is obviously very powerful. So as a result, your range will increase. Regardless of the footwork though, you're gonna want to have some forward energy moving into that shot. And if not forward, then find a way to get some momentum going starting from your base. So next we'll talk about the motion of your legs and your shoulders, which are very closely related on jumpers. So on most elite players' jumpers, you'll see their legs floating forward as their shoulders drop back. And this makes sense. If you're jumping towards something, you'll develop more power moving towards that object, right? The only thing is we don't want to flail ourselves at the rim by jumping forward. We'll lose control and rhythm in our jumper. So the way to counteract the jumping forward aspect of our legs moving forward is to drop our shoulders back. It's a way that most players pick up naturally just by shooting the ball, but it's also a sign that you're getting good power from your hips and you're counteracting in the right way. If your feet are landing forward after the jumper, but you're falling slightly backwards, that's a good sign. Next is arc. It's simple physics. If your shot is too flat, there's a much smaller window for the ball to enter the rim. And on deep shots, you need that window to be as open as possible. That angle has to be perfect. If it's too high, you lose distance because you're using all of your power to get it up in the air rather than towards the rim. And studies have shown that optimal angle is a very good middle ground of about 45 degrees. In fact, they've showed that shooters with a 45-degree arc shoot 11% better than those shooting with a high 53-degree arc. So how do you get arc? Well, there's a couple simple ways. Get your legs into it like we talked about. Get power from your hips and let those shoulders drop back. Maybe even more important though, is the direction of the release. A lot of younger players who aren't strong enough to get the ball comfortably into the basket shoot the ball away from their body like you see here. This obviously will push the ball horizontally and leave it flat. What you want is for that release to be up and out, so it's entering the air at an optimal angle. This is something you can analyze and put into your game right now and see results in your range almost immediately. And finally is your wrist. If you're not taking advantage of the power that comes from snapping that wrist forcefully, you're leaving out one of the 3 sources of power, which are the shoulder, elbow, and wrist. It's almost like jumping without using your ankles. All players with great range really take advantage of that wrist. And if you want to extend your range, you definitely should too. So obviously there's more that goes into getting range than this, but most of those require either getting stronger, getting in the weight room, or doing more than tweaking your shot, really reconstructing your shot. And a lot of the times that's really not the best option. We don't want to reconstruct anyone's shot. We just want to be able to tweak it to get the most out of it. So go try these things out, let me know what you think, and make sure to stay tuned for more videos like this. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at ByAnyMeansBasketball, and stay tuned for new videos weekly. Thanks for watching.